Hey everyone, Michael here with Hello Cupcake It's Me, and today is the Saturday check-in. It is August 24th, 2024, and thanks for hanging with me. If you have not done so already, please hit like and subscribe, then head on over to podcast.hellocupcakeitsme.com to check out the podcast that is updated every Thursday, and then head on over to hellocupcakeitsme.com to check out the blog. Make sure you follow me on all the socials and head on over to um, www.cdsthebook.com to check out my upcoming book that is scheduled for publication in November of 2024. So that being said, we're just going to jump right into everything. I have been under a tremendous amount of stress lately. There's a lot of shit going on that has just been stressful. The Mercury is retrograding like a motherfucker. We got all kinds of other stuff going on. Communication is breaking down across the board, and just a lot of stuff happening. So, as some of you may know, I did not do a podcast this Thursday because I had way too much going on, and I didn't even realize that the podcast hadn't been done yet until it was like 11:30 at night, and I was just like, you know what, screw it, I'll make it up to them and just tell everyone what was going on. So, as y'all as most of you know by now, my biological egg donor, or my biological mother, whatever you want to call her, um I have a very strained relationship with her, to say the absolute least. um she slipped and fell and like broke the femoral, or I'm sorry, I got two different stories, so I don't know what exactly happened. I just know that there was something broken, fractured, hurt, whatever in the pelvic area of her, um in her pelvic area. So one thing I heard was that she had fractured the femoral neck. And then I also have heard that she broke her pelvic bone. So I don't know what has actually happened, what hasn't happened, just that there was a surgery that took place and that she was in the hospital for several days. And that's pretty much that. Um, so I keep a lot of stuff from my sister because she's got a lot going on in her life, and I just do the best that I can to shoulder a lot of the responsibility when it comes to our mother. Uh, our mother is going to be 73 this year, and she is still active in her addictions. And in the entirety of my life, I have only known her to be clean and sober for maybe 5 years, give or take. So, anyways, dealing with her and her pig-headed, stubborn, I'm going to do shit the way I want to do shit and fuck everyone else, ways really gets to me a lot of times. And This time that she fell and hurt herself, there was no way, like, I couldn't get a hold of her. I called her several times over like a 3 or 4 day period, and she never answered her phone. Well, come to find out, her boyfriend had her phone. And that pissed me off because, you know, I know that I come up in her phone as her son or whatever else because, well, programmed it myself. And the fact that he didn't answer her phone, and knowing that I left voice messages and he didn't answer her phone, that was like a lot of no, that's no, just no. My sister pays for her phone bill and she had the phone shut off. And so I haven't talked to her since she's left the hospital, but Thursday we had to have a meeting with her care team at the hospital that she was at. She was very adamant in the fact that she was not going to go to a rehabilitation center for doing physical therapy and rehab on her leg and just other stuff that she needed to do. She was very adamant in the fact that she was, in fact, going home and threatened bodily injury to anyone who tried to do anything but that. So the doctor had a meeting with my sister and I and was just like, I advise against this, but, my hands are kind of tied. Her boyfriend showed up and said that he would help her out. He's been here to the hospital multiple times and he has taken some of the classes to like help her at home and blah, blah, whatever else. My sister nor myself have met this man. We have only really known about him for about maybe a month and a half, 2 months. Uh, I can only imagine what kind of stellar piece of shit he is because, well, I know what kind of a person she is and the kind of people that she attracts. And if she's active in her addiction, I'm sure he plays into that in some manner. But however, so the doctor said, I don't expect her to survive this. Like, if she goes home in the condition she's in, um, the next call you get is probably going to be us telling you that she has passed. And I'm at this moment, right this moment, I'm okay with that. Does that mean that I'm going to break down later and cry and have a moment of like just whatever? Maybe. I don't know. But at this moment, like the fact that I am having to parent a parent that hasn't parented me, it, it's just really stressful and really difficult to deal with. So I had all of that going on Thursday. I also had a meeting with the PR team Thursday about the book and trying to figure out what the fuck the next step is in getting the book situated, published, the whole 9 yards. Um, and it was posed to me, what's the worst that will happen if it does not get published in November? And that really pissed me off, especially because it was coming from somebody really close and knows how stressed out I have been, and also has basically given me the push that it should be published in November. So I was just like, every single thing that I do online, all of the marketing, all of the everything that I've been doing since January 29th, when I finished the manuscript, has had the date of November 2024 attached to it because I was told that I should have it done by then for, a myriad of different reasons. I feel that all of the marketing that I've done, all of the talk shows that I've been on, all the radio shows I've been on, all the blog podcasts, all that other stuff that I've been on, talking about the book, talking about like everything could have been better suited without the November deadline. And I could have been putting more effort, more work, more everything into polishing this and not putting the time and effort and whatever else that I've put into trying to get it done by November of this year. So I had that happening. I've had stuff happening within my friends group. I've just been bombarded, and I'm ashamed to say that I went through a night where I just drank and I was really disgusted with myself because I picked up a bottle of alcohol and I sat right there behind that, like right under that lamp, and watched anime and drank because I just needed something. Um, I've been sober. This October 1st will be 4 years. Um, Alcohol is not one of those things that has ever been an addiction or one of those things that I have abused or whatever. So that's not what I'm sober from. I used to smoke marijuana and consume a lot of marijuana products um, quite heavily to the point where it became an issue. And I had to step back and I'm like, no, you are not going down this path. And I know that they say you can't get addicted to marijuana or whatever. And, kind of true, kind of not true. For me, I was getting addicted to it because I was using it in place of certain medications that I was supposed to be taking at the time. Um, Now I microdose my Xanax, and I really wanted to kind of get away from the chemical dependency of pills and stuff like that. And I was, instead of using my Xanax, I was smoking a joint. But it became a problem when I was actively overdrawing my bank account, digging through my change jar to make up enough money to go to the local pot shop and buy a joint or two. So I noticed that in myself and I was like, absolutely not. Plus, as I was smoking, I'm like, yeah, it was making me happy. I was getting high. I was enjoying life or whatever. But then I was eating a lot of food and putting on weight that I didn't need to put on. And at the time, I was really active doing all my nature walks and stuff like that, which I need to get back into. That's a whole different story. That's a whole different process. But, it was just counterproductive. Here I am trying to lose weight, and then I'll come home, smoke a joint, and fuck up the grocery bill. Like, made no sense. So it took me quite a bit of time to really kick that need. I still have all my paraphernalia. I still have bongs and pipes, and I even have a big old thick nugget of weed around here somewhere, like in a bottle that is actually the last of its kind because the person who grew that particular strain uh, passed away. And this strain of marijuana no longer exists. And I have the last bit of it. And so, you know, it's strong and it's potent. This man was a fucking genius when it came to uh botany and everything to do with growing marijuana or whatever, but I digress. So just just taking the equivalent of, like, it's just one of those little bottles and drinking half of it. I looked at my I looked at it and I just capped it off and I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, no, you're not going to turn to a substance to help you get through this shit. Like, that's not who you are. Like, you're literally sitting here pissed off at your biological mother for being a substance user, and then you're going to fucking grab a bottle and start drinking it? Like, no. I mean, up until just recently, that's the first drink I had in probably 2 or 3 months. And for some of you, you may know this or you may not know this. This might be brand new information to you, but I also do an amateur wine blog, and it's pretty freaking popular. Uh, and I usually only drink wine during the summer months. I don't know why I don't drink during the winter months or whatever, but I got a pretty good collection of wine. None of it's really top shelf. I have one bottle that is, how much did they say it was? It was like $250 for this bottle of wine. And it's even more expensive now because that Vintner is out of business and you can't get this varietal anymore. And it was a Christmas gift. So, I have alcohol on hand, but I don't drink it all the time. Like, I'll have some of my bottles I've had for probably a year or two, maybe longer. Um, and I think the most expensive bottle that I have purchased in my collection was $28, and that was from a local vineyard. And I wanted to start drinking more local wines and getting a taste for what their vineyard produces. One of the places that I bought wine from, I later found out that their grapes weren't even produced locally. So I was just like, yeah, I'm not going to ever be buying from you again. So, anyways, didn't mean to go on a tangent about the wine. That's not what this is about. But just having a lot of stuff going on right now, and um, just trying to figure out my shit, trying to figure out who I am right now with the boundaries that I'm setting up, with the progress I'm making in the house, with doing all my, like, doing normal stuff, but things that I haven't done before. Like, you know, when you deal with mental health issues, typically you don't clean your surroundings, and your surroundings become a reflection of what's going on up here. And I'm clear thinking now, and I'm feeling the best about myself that I have felt in ages. And I was just talking to my mom about this the other day, and she's like, Michael, you have done a lot of self reflecting and a lot of growth. And, you may not notice it, but I have noticed that over the last 3 or 4 years, you have really changed, and your dad would be proud of you, your grandma would be proud of you, and I'm proud of you. And I just started crying. I'm like, well, thank you. I know that I still have a lot of flaws and a lot of things that I need to atone for just personally, and things that I need to do in order to get right with myself, and setting healthy boundaries, making sure that my house is safe. It's a place of happiness. It's a place that reflects me and my like my creative spirit and everything else. I have all my Funko Pop, not all of them, but a good majority of them displayed. There's still a lot that needs to be taken care of. Like my desk looks like a bomb went off on it. Um, but I'm making progress, and I feel good about myself. And I'm trying to do the best I can with what I have available to me. And I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to keep the Hello Cupcake It's Me a podcast going. Um, I might, just as another way for me to vent and to get my content across to people. Um, but there's a lot of what ifs, and I've also been really considering starting up another podcast, or a whole new YouTube channel re- revolving around mental health, and utilizing the information that I've learned, not only about like my own personal mental health, but the information that I've learned in becoming a peer counselor, and all the classes that I've taken and everything else. Like right where that stop sign is, that hallway, all along that hallway is all of my certificates, all of my degrees, well, just all my certifications and stuff that I have gotten from taking all the classes that I've taken, floor to ceiling. There's only one picture on that wall, and it's my mom and my dad. And I've talked about this before. When I'm talking about my mom, I'm not talking about my biological mom. I'm talking about my stepmom, who is more of a mother than what my biological mother has ever been. Um, so that's the only picture on that wall. And it's my little hee hee to myself, because I refer to that as my hall of records, because I can stand there and look at each one of these framed documents and, like, yeah, I remember when I took this class, and this is what I learned from this class, and because I learned this, and this from this class, I ended up taking this class here and got information that like really sparked an interest, and then I took what I learned in these two classes and I applied it to the book. And then as I was applying it to the book, I took another class, and this class here was something that helped me in this part of my life. And so it's kind of like whenever I'm feeling a little about myself or whatever, I just stop and I take a moment and I stand in the hallway and I look at all of those documents that are framed, and that they're certificates and diplomas and whatever, just that makes me happy, because I did that. I took those classes, and knowledge is something that can't ever be taken from you. There's a lot of classes that I still want to take, and I have a whole list of stuff that I want to take that I am planning on doing in the start of next year. There's about 10 mental health classes and 3 just because classes that I want to take. I've also kind of slipped and haven't been doing my sign language like I should and like I need to. So I'm getting back on my app, and I've been doing it sporadically, and I've been trying to like just be just on my own. Like if somebody says, "Hey, what's your name?" I will go through and be like, "Your name, what?" Or like going through and like, um, you know, I, I want an orange, or brown. Just doing the different hand motions. Um, I started following new ASL content providers and learning about stuff like that. So, that's been really awesome. Um, so, yeah, education is something that I value regardless of how you get it. Um, you can see all the books over there on the bookshelf. I've read all but 6 of those books. There's a whole nother bookshelf right here. I've read all but 5 books on that shelf. So, you know, I I appreciate education, and I enjoy taking the class and then getting the certificate afterwards. Like that is the biggest adrenaline rush for me, and dopamine hit is like once I pass that class and I get to print out that certificate or have it sent to me or whatever else. That's just like, I did this. I was never very academically stable in school. I was a CDF student. A lot of times I was just freaking bored. And because I was being bullied by not only the students, but I was being bullied by the teachers and the staff or whatever else, I didn't want to go to school. Literally, I only went to school for breakfast and lunch and to see my friends. If I could have dropped out back then, if I was if I would have been able to drop out at like the 4th, 5th, or even 6th grade, that would have been fine with me. I'm glad that I pushed myself to finish high school and to get a diploma. And it was a really big source of pride for myself walking across that stage. Um, you know, a lot of people are like, well, that's just the bare minimum. That's what you're supposed to do. Well, what you're supposed to do and what life and what you end up doing with that, 2 different things. So, even though I was a CDF student and bored and was, bullied and whatever, I'm still glad that I was able to graduate and that I got the education that I did, that I was able to experience going to college. I wish I would never have dropped out of college, but the follies of youth, thought I was in love, chased after this person who promised me and said everything that I needed to hear, and just never been able to get back into school. So, um, a lot of I don't have regrets because during that time period when I wasn't in school was some of the best times of my life, honestly. Though I do think a lot about like the what ifs, and one of the biggest what ifs is like, you know, had I stayed in school and, would I have gotten a job in one of the 7 professions that I was pursuing at the time? Would I be a teacher? Because that's what I went to school for, was to become a high school English teacher. I wanted to work with high school or I wanted to work with high schoolers, because when I got out of school, I would still be young enough to understand the plight of what was going on with the teenagers at the time. And I kind of wanted to work in an inner city school district like Los Angeles or Compton, something like that. And one of the other things that I pursued was a degree in cultural anthropology with a emphasis in earth-based spirituality. And I took a lot of classes in that, and um, focused a lot on like the earth-based spiritualities of like Wicca, of like the Papua New Guinea tribes, of like Afro-Caribbean like tribal magic and their religions and stuff like that. So um there's just a lot of different directions that I could have gone. So I think about that quite a bit. But yeah. Anyways, before I close up here, because I know we are going over a half an hour, and if you've watched this long, I really appreciate it. Again, I'm sorry for no podcast this week, but I will get back to it this coming Thursday. But I wanted to show you something that my mom sent me, and it's this. The camera may not focus on it very well. There we go. But this was my dad's wedding ring, and this is not the ring I thought it that was his wedding ring. He used to have this big uh, Harley Davidson like biker ring that was Black Hills gold and silver, and I thought that was his wedding ring. I didn't know he had this, and I. What's funny to me is that this actually fit on his ring finger, and I can only get it to fit on my pinky because, well, my hands are just so big. But I've been kind of kicking around the idea of getting it cleaned and buffed up and getting some of the scrapes and whatever taken out of it. But at the same time, this was the last thing that he wore. Like, I know that it's his and that it's imbued with his energy or whatever else, but you know, would the diamonds shine better? Yeah, they would. But this was his. The, and as gross as it is, but like the dirt and the grime that's in between all of the things or whatever else, that's him. That's his DNA. And I know that I have his DNA running through me, but I it's really sentimental, so I'm having a little bit of a hard time trying to debate on if I want to go have it professionally cleaned. I thought about trying to get it sized so that I could wear it on my middle finger or even on my ring finger. Um, and these are some of the rings that I have. So on my ring finger is Mjolnir, which is Thor's hammer, and is a connection to my Norse heritage. And then this ring here is tungsten steel, and up until getting this ring was the most expensive ring that I have. That ring was $350. I paid $12 for this on Amazon or on eBay, and then I have the Trigata on this hand, which is just like a protective signet ring, and then just a regular plain silver ring. And I got this ring plus a necklace with the same design on it from Temu or something like that, and paid $5-6 for it. And this ring here, I paid $12 for. So, like, that's the only jewelry outside of my watch and this necklace here that I really wear. And then this little thing right here, that is a locket with my dad's ashes in it. So, yeah, and then I got my earrings or whatever. But anyways, yeah, I just wanted to show you guys my ring and get a lot of that stuff off my chest. There's a lot of stuff that I need to do this weekend, and I'm going to try to get it all done. But you know what? If I don't, there's always next week and next weekend. So, anyways, guys, thank you for listening to me babble on this long. I really appreciate it. So, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, put them in the comment section down below, and I will talk to you all later. Bye, guys.